So what I'm saying is, if you discover that even your salary cannot even meet your needs, I remember when I was there, by 14th of the month, money don't finish. You know, some of you know what I'm saying. All right. So when you find yourself at that level, what you need to do is,
Welcome to my YouTube channel. Get ready for transformation as we dive into God's Word. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
no matter what, no matter how you want to see yourself, resources are limited. So you can just throw everything out. All right. Let me say this. There are enough legitimate needs to finish your money right now. In fact, there are enough legitimate needs in the world to ensure that you live in penury. Just so you know, there are enough legitimate needs. And so there must be a balance, a safe balance to help you realize. So for that to happen, you must even learn what you can afford. A lot of people don't even know what they can afford. I remember years ago when I began to learn a bit about finances, someone tried to sell something to me. I think it was a wristwatch. And I said, I can't afford it. And he looked at me funny. What do you mean? You way we know. You can afford it. I said, the fact that I have the money for it doesn't mean I can afford it. You see, a lot of people don't know this. If you have 20,000 naira, you can't afford a 20,000 naira perfume. You have the money for it, but you can't afford it. There's a difference. That you have the money to buy something does not mean that you can afford it. If you have 20,000 naira in your account, the people who buy 20k perfume are not your mates, respectfully. The people who buy 20,000 naira shirts are not your mates. You can't afford it. And so, a good way to start this conversation is to begin to talk about simple things like a budget. You must have a budget. You must have a budget. You must know how much you spend. There is something financially smart people call recurrent expenditure, and that's the amount of money you spend consistently. So what's your recurrent expenditure? All right? And a simple way to do this is just go to your bank. Ask for your bank statement to be printed. Let them print your bank statement for the past 3 months. I assure you, when you do that, you'll be full of revelation. By the time you add what you have been using on pizza, you'll be amazed. You will be amazed. You can just discover, what? 500,000 on ice cream in the past 3 months. You'll be shocked. Bank statements reveal a lot. All right? And when you do that, the goal is now to balance your income with your expenses. So where is my money going? And where should my money go? So you must have a fair idea of how much recurrent expenditure, is demanded of you, of your salary every month. How much does it take to transport yourself? How much do you spend on food? For another reason why stuff like this will be very revelatory is because many times, to save time, we just enter into one eatery and buy food. Not everybody can afford that luxury. So these are the things that looking at your bank statement will expose. You might now have to make a resolution. You know what? I'm going to go to Iya Basira and I'm going to give her money, or in fact, that's still luxurious. I can't afford that. On Saturdays, I will buy soup. I will buy ingredients. I will cook soup for the month. Put it in a deep freezer. So you begin to make wise choices like that. By the time you at least know what is required of you. All right? So you must have a budget. The reason I'm saying this is because some of you don't even have the right to complain that you are being taxed. You have no right to complain, because if you manage your finances better, you'll probably be able to give better. You'll probably be able to give better. All right? If you manage your finances better. So that's why we need to talk about this. You need to budget. And let me just give you, there are many general ideas, a lot of ideas out there on how to budget. But this is what I would say that will help you. You need to know what are your needs, and you need to know what are your wants. What are wants? Wants are things that are not necessary but improve the quality of your life. Things like Netflix. You can survive without it. You might hate to believe that, but it's true. Trust me, you won't die. It's not oxygen. Needs are, of course, food, transport. You must transport yourself to work so that you can keep making money, so that they don't sack you. All right? So you need to know what your needs are. You need to know what your wants are. And then you now need to have another category for savings. This is very important. So now, your needs, do your best to make sure that this is not always practical in this part of the world where the average person lives under $1, whatever this thing is. But try to ensure that your needs are not more than 50% of your salary. Try. If you can't do that now, that's fine. So the reason I'm giving you this pie chart is so that you'll be honest with yourself to say, you know what, I can't afford to have Netflix subscription yet. What I would do is, once or twice a month, when I want to watch a movie, I will go to my friend's house. You see, let me tell you something. It takes living above peer pressure to be a smart planner, to appreciate other people's process. Some people are living off 3 generations of wealth. We are not the same. My father is the first person in his lineage to go to school. I need time to plan. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't, because everybody is talking about one program on Netflix, go and subscribe your own. You are not there yet. If you're not there yet, accept it. All right? So what I'm saying is, if you discover that even your salary cannot even meet your needs. I remember when I was there, by 14th of the month, money don't finish. Some of you know what I'm saying. All right? So when you find yourself at that level, what you need to do is look at your expenditure, and that old cliche quote, start cutting your coat according to your size. Start cutting. If they invite you, oh yes, for this party, it's all white. I don't have white though. Should I come or I should not come? Do you understand what I'm saying? And then the funny thing is, when you embrace this idea, in fact, you begin to look like it will be like style. That I just wanted to be different. Because you just have to live within your means. You must fight impulse shopping, impulse buying. Fight it. All those tactics of thrift saving, or all those accounts that you have that don't have ATM, abandon your money there. By the time you think of the fact that to touch the money you have to enter queue, do you understand? Use your laziness to your advantage. Use it to your advantage. Use one bank, maybe one microfinance that is far away. Throw the money there, so that you have to be desperate, to go and remove it. So those are some things that I believe can help. And then, okay, like I said, you also have to monitor your expenses. All right. Begin to track all the bad habits that you have. Track and correct them. And then I beg you, as difficult, and it's almost insensitive to talk about saving, in this day and age, but it is still necessary. There is something called an emergency fund. And, statutorily, an emergency fund is your needs budget. How much money do you need for food, transportation? I won't just say your salary. Some people say 6 months salary, but I would say your needs expenditure times 6. So if, God forbid, there is an emergency, you lose your job, God forbid, those things happen. It might just be even a prophetic transition. All right. Try to make sure that you don't die because you didn't plan for it. You're not being religious not to plan for a rainy day. All right, because tough times really do come. So plan for it. I'm not praying that you're going to be sick or any such thing, but you'll be irresponsible not to have any money to even treat yourself. You'll be irresponsible. So have, and then it's going to take a lot of discipline. Sometimes it's going to take a lot of pain, but you must have all of this. All right. And here is something. So when you do this to yourself, when you know how much money you need to go through a month, when you know how much money you want, you know exactly how much above that quota you need to be able to eat out once in a while, buy Ashwebi, buy large internet, not just basic internet to check your mail, just be streaming and all those things. When you have that budget, you can now know how much money you can safely give and still be responsible. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can now know how much money. Some of us can't even answer that question, and that's the problem. So we don't even know how far is too far, how much is too much. We don't know that. So we must have like a generosity expenditure. We must have a savings expenditure. We must know how much money we need to go through the month. So that way, we can now create a generosity budget. Let me say this. You are not a giver if you give impulsively. There's a difference between, let me backtrack. Something very interesting happened in Dubai. I entered a roller coaster ride, and it was one of the scariest things I ever did in my life. In fact, I vowed never to do it again. It was that scary. But much to my amazement, all the children 6 years and under who climbed that thing were not as afraid. They were not afraid. Then it dawned on me that not everybody is brave. Some are just foolish. Some don't know enough to be afraid. Do you understand what I'm saying? They just don't know what is at stake. They are not braver than I am. They just don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the same way, some people are not generous. They are not just good planners. They're not just good planners. They are the ones who, after they've given, on their way back, they're now like, what have I done? Do you understand what I'm saying? At least you must know your financial position so that you know what is a stretch. So have a generosity budget. As a child of God, as a Christian, once in a while you should stretch beyond that. In fact, many times. But at the same time, you must even know what quarter, based on how much money I receive, how much generosity should I do monthly, and then to who. You know what? Don't just go like that. If you have some tips that have helped you and you want to share with us, please share them.
I believe you have been blessed by this message. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you.